All right, let's dive into this whole work from home thing. It's everywhere you look these days, right? And we've got a ton of stuff to unpack, articles, research, even a YouTube video. So by the end of this, you'll have a much clearer idea about the good, the bad, and what it means for your career, you know?
It really is fascinating to see how much this topic is being talked about. It's a bit of a hot button for some folks, and you're right, we've got a lot of different viewpoints to look at here.
Okay, so let's kick things off with some good news. This article, Local Company Slammed, talks about a study that found working from home can actually make employees happier. Makes sense, right?
Yeah, less commute, more time with the fam, maybe even fitting in a quick workout at lunch.
Totally. I mean, who wouldn't want more control over their schedule? But hang on a sec, because we also have this YouTube video from Paulo Kala.
Oh yeah, the NIMBIC CEO.
Exactly. And his take is, well, let's just say, a little different. He actually said people get dumber working from home.
Yeah, that definitely got people talking.
It did. And his argument is basically that WFH can lead to people becoming, too specialized. They end up being an expert in one tiny piece of their job. And then what if that role changes or disappears altogether?
That's a really good point. I mean,
Yeah.
have you ever felt that way about your work, listener? Maybe a little too stuck in a rut.
For sure. And it makes sense, especially in, fast-paced industries like tech, where Kala comes from.
Yeah.
Things change so quickly there that you got to be able to, adapt.
Absolutely. And that's what Kala is worried about, people working from home becoming less adaptable in a job market that never sits still.
Right. So it's all about staying ahead of the curve, I guess. But, not everyone was buying his argument. Actually, his company got totally slammed online after that video came out.
Yeah, both this local company slammed article and this venture capital firm draws flack.
Yeah.
Piece really lay out the backlash Nimbix got for this, kind of like anti-WFH position they took.
Yeah, the social media reaction was intense. I mean, some people felt like they were being personally attacked, like their whole way of life was being dismissed.
And some of those comments were brutal.
Yeah.
This shows you how strongly people feel about this whole thing.
For sure.
It's like a reminder that what works for one person might not work for another.
Yeah,
Everyone has different needs and perspectives.
totally. Now, in Kala's defense, he did try to offer some middle ground. In the video, he calls it the 20-20-20 rule for WFH success.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that.
Basically, he says set aside 20 minutes for exercise, 20 minutes for networking within the company, and 20 minutes for learning new skills.
Interesting. What do you think about that?
I don't know, it's kind of like he's admitting WFH has some downsides, but then also giving people strategies to, make it work?
Yeah, I get it. And you're right. Getting some exercise can definitely help you stay sharp. And obviously, making time for networking and learning new skills is huge for staying connected and adaptable in any field, really. I wonder what stands out to you about his suggestions, listener.
Okay, so this Bittiness article covers Kala speaking at some tech summit where he actually tries to clarify his dumber comment. And he basically says what he really meant was that WFH can slow down, like skill development and adaptability, if employees aren't careful. He even told this story about a taxi driver who was super worried about losing his job to those AI-driven taxis.
Yeah, the Waymo ones.
Exactly.
It's a pretty powerful story. It kind of drives home that point that no matter what, technology is changing everything around us, and we've got to be ready to change with it, right? No matter where we work.
For sure. All right, let's zoom in on the Philippines specifically for a sec. The venture capital firm draws flack. Article mentions this Job Street research showing that Filipino workers really prefer WFH or hybrid setups.
Interesting. Why do you think that is?
Well, I mean, it shows how the whole WFH debate is shaped by, local things like traffic, access to technology, even cultural norms. I mean, it's not just a global trend. It's about how that trend bumps up against the reality of where you live. What do you think, listener? Does this ring true to you?
Yeah, it really highlights how there isn't one right answer to the WFH question. What works for one person or one company might not be right for everyone.
Yeah, and it's not just about what you prefer. It's about what your industry needs, the skills you need to succeed, the whole picture.
Definitely. And speaking of skills, one thing that really jumped out at me from this venture capital firm article is how it touches on job security. With all this talk about automation and AI taking over, does working from home affect our ability to, stay competitive and keep our jobs?
That's a really good question. I remember Claude talked about that too. It's almost like it doesn't matter so much where you work, it's about the attitude you bring to your work.
Exactly. You could be at the office every day, but if you're not learning, if you're not adapting, you could still get left behind. And on the flip side, you could be working remotely, but if you're constantly learning and networking and staying ahead of the curve, you might be even more competitive.
So it's not really WFH versus the office. It's about taking charge of your own career no matter where you're sitting. That's pretty empowering.
It really is. It's like you have the power to shape your future, even with all this crazy technology stuff happening around us.
So where does this leave us in this whole WFH debate? It seems like both sides have good points.
Totally. And I think that's what's great about having different perspectives, right? It helps us see that it's not so black and white.
Yeah, it's about understanding like the trade-offs, the good stuff, and the things you need to be careful about.
It really underscores that idea that the future of work isn't one size fits all. It's about finding what works for you, what works for your goals, and what works for your life.
You know, reading through all of this, one thing that struck me was how emotional people get about this topic. It's not just a logistical thing, it's tied to how people see themselves, their values, even their well-being.
Oh, totally. Sometimes these debates get so heated we forget about the human side of things.
Hmm.
You ever felt that way, listener? Like you're being personally attacked just because of how you feel about WFH?
Yeah, for some people, WFH represents like freedom, flexibility, more balance in their lives. For others, it feels isolating, distracting, even like it's holding them back professionally.
Right, and it's so important to acknowledge those feelings and talk about them openly. The future of work should be a future that works for everybody, not just a few.
Couldn't agree more. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one thing you want our listeners to walk away with?
I think it's this. The WFH debate is complex, it's constantly evolving, and there isn't one right answer. What works for one person might not work for another, but as long as you stay informed, you stay adaptable, and you're taking ownership of your career, you can navigate all of these changes and thrive no matter what happens, wherever you end up working.
I love that. Before we go, I do have one final thought-provoking question for everyone listening. Kala was pretty adamant about, showing up at the office, especially if you want to move up in your career. But in a world that's increasingly driven by remote work and AI, what are your ways of standing out and staying ahead?
That's a fantastic question. It really makes you think about what success even means in this new world of work.
It really does. I mean, maybe it's about becoming a master of all those AI tools. Maybe it's figuring out creative ways to network online. Or maybe it's developing a totally unique skill set that makes you indispensable in a remote setting. What do you think, listener?
The possibilities are endless. That's what makes this such an exciting time to be thinking about the future of work. It's a chance to, like, redefine success on your own terms and create a work life that really lines up with your values, your goals, and your needs.
Exactly. So, to all our listeners out there, take that question and run with it. What are you good at? What are you passionate about? And how can you use those things to build a career that's both fulfilling and future proof, whether you're at home, in the office, or somewhere in between?
We want to hear from you. Share your thoughts and strategies with us on social media.
And that brings us to the end of this deep dive.
Until next time, keep diving deep, keep learning, and keep pushing the boundaries in the world of work.
We'll see you in the next deep dive.